Hello, my name is Irina Linikova. I'm a senior solutions architect at AWS, and I work with the media customers in France. And today I will be doing a walkthrough of AI-driven content understanding and metadata creation demo. As you may know, a lot of media companies struggle to unlock value from vast video archives where content remains undiscoverable without costly manual tagging. So to address this, we have a Media2Cloud solution that transforms unstructured video into searchable assets through automated detection of segments, credits, ad breaks, clips, and other very valuable metadata. And combined with a media lake on AWS, so another guidance that we have, this creates a centralized repository for discovery and reuse at scale. So in this demonstration, we will be concentrating at this integration between Media Lake and Media2Cloud, and it will be done via Media Lake pipeline. So how does it work? A user pushes their media content into Media Lake, so it triggers Media2Cloud pipeline. And so it will start Media2Cloud job for metadata enrichment and embeddings generation. And once this job is finished, we will send the generated embeddings into OpenSearch service on Media Lake side. So how does it look? Here we have a Media Lake interface, and we have a pipeline configuration for Media2Cloud solution. As you may see, it is pretty straightforward. So we have this ingest part where once the media assets are pushed into Media Lake, it will then be copied into Media2Cloud S3 ingestion bucket. And then it will trigger the Media2Cloud job. And once everything is generated, it will publish events and publish the embeddings into OpenSearch service. So as for embeddings part, we use Cohere Embed V4 model. And as for the kind of metadata that we use for semantic search, so here we go to Media2Cloud interface. And so for the embeddings, we will choose conversation analysis embeddings, so all the details about the conversation. And then we will also use segment level metadata embeddings, and also we will use scene level metadata, so all the details about the scene. And then we will, as I said, we will send it back to OpenSearch. And then once everything is done, we will be able to do semantic search and search through our video archive. So for example, if I want to search for Kevin Kilner in a stormy beach, it will find us the media assets that contain this scene, and it will point us to this specific scene, as you can see here. So yes, as I said, once you generate all the necessary metadata, this integration with Media Lake really helps and makes it easy to configure semantic search for your video archives. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you for watching this demo walkthrough.
Hey everyone, I'm Heather, a media and entertainment solution architect for Amazon Web Services. I'm going to walk you through content understanding and metadata creation using Media2Cloud. This solution uses Amazon Bedrock large language models, open source models from Bedrock Marketplace, and some self-hosted agentic tools to provide a wealth of metadata that you can use to drive your workflows, such as producing highlights, ad breaks, localization, content moderation, etc. Let's take a look. When you open Media2Cloud, there is a collection of assets that have been ingested after video comes into the system. It kicks off agentic workflow that uses AI and machine learning models to learn many things. First, we can see, as we select one of these videos, that there is a lot of deep technical metadata that help you understand what the video is, how it was recorded, codecs, aspect ratio, audio profiles used, color space, an endless wealth of technical metadata that's useful when you're trying to organize things around all the videos in your catalog. Now let's move on to some of the more granular elements of metadata that are not typical of something like a media info analysis. First of all, you can see down here that there's a full transcript of what was said during the video. This is useful for many things like localization. The way that we've done the transcript creation is through audio enhancement, which allows for us to strip out the background noises and music, further enabling a better transcription service. Let's hear some of that.
By 2050, it predicted that 65%
So as you can see here,
population will be urbanized.
You've got the normal audio coming through with a lot of background noise. And then when we hit this button, we're allowing it to be stripped out so that you hear only the man's voice speaking.
We're not even remotely aware that we were heading towards this level of density.
Now let's move on to some of the other features that you can find in here. There's conversation analysis, which is quite helpful when you want to pull out a specific section of your video or identify it. Here you can see that there's a description around what that section is, as well as the type of conversation that it is, and a little bit about tone and so forth. Further down, we can see speaker identification. Now, this is very useful because even if the person is not on screen, as you can see, Werner Vogels was not on screen, but he was still accurately identified as the speaker. In this piece of the interface, you can see where we've shown that there was 16 segments where he spoke, and you can play those segments in sequence. And then this here is produced by the PANS model, which creates different segments within the video. Here you can see that there was speaking and then there was music segments that were purely music. This is useful if you wanted to pull out sections of the video to further be analyzed for things like creating music cue sheets and etc. Now let's bring up a different video so I can show you some of the features around facial recognition. All right. So in this section, you'll be able to identify the talent that appears and in the order that they appear in. So you can manage the faces that it identifies in case there's someone that isn't recognizable to the system. What's unique about this version of Media2Cloud is that it's not just analyzing thousands and thousands of frames for each face that exists within them. What it's first doing is creating a cluster analysis, almost a graph, if you will, that identifies all of the unique faces that have appeared throughout the entire video. It then takes a very accurate sample of that face and then produces a very small subset of facial recognition and celebrity recognition tasks, which can be cheaply identifying many, many talent within a video. And here's an example of a visual graphic that shows you a bit about how that graph is created. All right, now let's look at the structure. There's a lot of structural metadata that Media2Cloud is producing. First, we can see that it's taking the video and identifying different segments. Here you can see that it shows the black frames, opening credits, different segments of the program as it happens. Within each of those things identified, we have a deep description, there's some reasoning, understanding, and the SMPTE time codes so that you can pinpoint a specific segment that you're looking for. And the interface will play that segment for you.
For starters. And then
Now we move on to scene level metadata. Scene level metadata is taking all of the segments that were identified and then further combining them into scene level metadata. Here you can see the frames that are inclusive of each scene that was identified. It provides the time codes for it as well as a lot of information about it so that you can identify where there are any logos that occurred within it in case you need to get legal clearances and the sentiment for that area. So if you're targeting different clips for a recap, etc., you should be able to find the scenes that you're looking for that will make up that video. Okay, Now we can look at the program structure overall, which helps you to make sure that you've got the right number of blocks in the right places. Are you doing commercial breaks? Is there credits? And then this also allows you to make some ad hoc prompts so that you can identify other structural needs. This is a new feature that was added, and in here you can identify not only the prompt and modify it, but you can also change the model that you prefer to use for that analysis. So in this case, I've selected highlight scenes, and what this tool does is it produces a suggested list of highlights that could be leveraged if you wanted to put together a highlight reel. It gives you a quality rating, and you're able to play that segment back. Now, if I didn't like what was in here because it maybe didn't target my audience or some other tweak needed to be made, I'm allowed to edit the prompt in here and apply it. It will also maintain history of that prompt as well as what model was used. Very useful for experimental work with video. All right, and then the last section that we'll go over is ad breaks. Here we've got a list of all the recommended ad breaks based on what it's seeing in the arc of a segment, as well as are there already natural story breaks from the transcription. It gives you quite a number to choose from. Now, let's say I didn't like something about it and I wanted the frequency to be slightly different. I could go back to this ad hoc prompt editing and then select ad breaks and make a change to that. Now, if we go into the settings section, you can see that there's a diagram that walks you through all the different steps that your video is being processed through and all the models associated. In this settings section, and this is new to this version of Media2Cloud, you are able to make changes to what will be used in each of those steps. For example, the speech-to-text step will allow you to modify from WhisperX, which we are defaulting to transcribe, and then rerun the data that was used for that. You can update the configuration, and all videos that come in will start to use that model instead. I hope you're so excited about the platform that you'd like to take the last journey with me through the architecture and do a deep dive into what are all the steps that this video is processed through. So your media comes in and it is broken out into audio and video. The audio track does a deep filter net analysis to pull out and do audio enhancement, subtracting all of the background noise and music so that we have a much richer set of audio for transcription. This is sent off to WhisperX, which then produces a full transcription that is then later can be analyzed by Amazon Bedrock for further breakdown. Additionally, the video goes through some media info collection. It's then sent to Amazon Bedrock Titan multimodal embeddings that help to enable the analysis that creates the designation between frames into shots. Those frames into shots are then fed into a shot-to-scene analysis that produces a set of scenes. While this is going on, all faces are extracted, the best ones are sampled, and that is sent off to Amazon Recognition for celebrity recognition. All this metadata is then fed back together to do a deeper inference analysis that comes to much more deep structural conclusions around what is in scene, who is in scene, and what happens. This is then fed into the analysis that generates playlists as well as ad break detection and anything for highlights. I hope you're finding that Media2Cloud is a useful tool for enhancing all the metadata that you have around your video catalogs. Thank you so much, and have fun exploring.